Truckers sound the alarm as shipping companies hit the skids. Watch live. This year has been rocky for the $800 billion trucking industry. After a raucous 2018, 2019 has seen retailers and manufacturers moving less, according to the Cass Freight Index. Freight rates have dipped, and that means rates have dipped for independent truckers as well as major companies. Rates for van loads, the earnings of big and small players alike, are getting hit as factory activity continues to decline. The Lexington, there has been a spate of trucking companies declaring bankruptcy this year, too. The largest was New We. Trucking's biggest companies have been slashing their outlooks. Knight-Swift and even giants like FedEx, UPS, and J.B. Hunt, Meanwhile, UPS dropped its rating of J.B. Hunt from buy to new. Related video: is a slowdown in the trucking industry a recessionary warning? Provided by Yahoo. Bad weather was to blame for some of this year's trucking downturns, and experts have also pointed to increasing uncertainty with tariffs, as President Donald Trump has threatened tariffs of 25% on some $200 billion of goods from China. In February, FedEx also had to slash its outlook because of global trade issues. Global. By economists at the Federal Reserve, Princeton University, and Columbia University said the trade war is costing U.S. consumers more than $1 billion per month. The R word. But some insiders are still hesitant to label what's going on as a freight recession, preferring to label the market as soft and opinions as uncertain. At a conference, the Credit Suisse analyst Alison Landry told the Wall Street Journal last month, and some are writing off what's happening as a trough altogether. Read more. Trucking is regardless a key area for folks to watch, whether it's a bloodbath or just a little shaky. A dip in truck or because.
Raindrop, truck top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.